And there I am. Hey, everybody. Good afternoon. It's afternoon where I am. Anyways, it's 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the middle of nowhere, Georgia. Reaching out from the Open by Chance Museum Lounge, the lounge area. Waiting for some people to pop in here. I know it's not the regular time. Most people are probably still used to when we would come on at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But of course, that's when LPH and I were still doing this together. And currently, that's not so easy anymore, as some of you are aware of our family situation. So yeah, give it a couple of minutes for some people to pop in. There was a couple of shows today. Well, there was a show today. There's a show today and a show tomorrow. I see Kay Munin is here. I don't know who else is there yet. Yesterday was Halloween, although you can't tell. I didn't see any trick-or-treaters. Although, honestly, I haven't seen any for years. I haven't seen trick-or-treaters for years. That's why I speculate that this is a holiday that's really kind of dying. It's really kind of dying off. It's really kind of being forgotten. There's no more Halloween specials. It used to be aisles of Halloween, merchandise and costumes and all of that, and now it's like a section at the front of Walmart. It really is kind of fading away. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me. But like I said, I haven't even seen trick-or-treaters for years. They don't come here. They didn't come to the house when we were in Illinois. They didn't come to the house in the other place we lived in Georgia before we moved here. It doesn't surprise me at all. It's I think that's something that the modern child isn't going to know very much about, hardly at all. If anybody's still going, I think it's nostalgia. I think, oh, I want my kids to go. I want my kids to go because I used to go trick-or-treating, sort of a thing. So purely nostalgia driven at this point for what used to be the second biggest holiday behind Christmas. Talking in as far as volume in retail sales, Halloween would fall right behind Christmas because of just the sheer volume of candy sales. And then, of course, that ties in with thinking about this, interestingly enough, to Ben Cooper costumes, which is still alive in the incarnation of like costumes being sold to adults as a novelty, like Super 7 does occasionally, Ben Cooper type costumes, and the NECA action figures of little kids that are like $23 wearing Ben Cooper costumes. But Ben Cooper for decades was a big fad. Yeah, Munin is saying the Halloween candy's on clearance at their store now. Yeah, that's what everybody waits for now, is wait for it to go on sale the next day, because it'll be half off the day after, and then progressively goes down as the candy that's left behind is worse and worse. But the Ben Cooper costume fad, but it's the longest fad I can think of, because the Ben Cooper costumes are shit. It's this blow mold plastic mask with this really worthless elastic on it that splits and cracks and falls apart before you're done with it, and this really super thin vinyl smock or jumpsuit that just splits and tears to pieces. It's a piece of junk. But they were very popular. Just like Beanie Babies or Cabbage Patch Kids or Funko Pops. They had their fad niche. But Ben Cooper costumes are the longest fad niche that I'm aware of, or that I've ever thought about, because their pocket of the height of interest in them goes from like 65 to 95. That's a damn near 30-year space for how long Ben Cooper costumes stayed relevant. It's really kind of amazing. Really kind of amazing. I don't know who else is in here. Just Kay Munin, the only one talking. As we, again, just after 5 here, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we are in open by chance. Hope everybody is doing well today. Had a good holiday. Hopefully they didn't disturb you too much. I went to an outdoor sale at a flea market today, and I'll talk about that a little bit later because we actually had some really good luck there, or I did anyways, myself and LPH and her father. The shows, yeah, I was mentioning because we had the shows this weekend, which was and we were invited to the, what is it? The Georgia Mountain Charity Con in Jasper, Georgia. We were invited there by one of the vendors and couldn't go because it's just very limited what we can do while we have her father tagging along. And then the Atlanta Comic Convention is tomorrow. And I don't know if we're going to be able to go to that either because, again, it's difficult with him. As a lot of you are aware, he has very severe dementia. And it's kind of, it can be very difficult. It can be very difficult. We have brought him to the Retro Toy Swap, and we had brought him to Joe Lanta, which was not easy. But we, smaller crowded shows like that, especially the Atlanta Comic Convention, probably not the best idea. I see Raccoon is here, as well as Chris. Yeah, Chris says if you had a rubber mask in my day, you had bragging rights. Yeah. And Raccoon wished she still had all the Ben Cooper masks from the costumes in the 80s. Yeah, some of them, it depends. I mean, some of them can be quite expensive, some of them not so much. And also there's a lot of variations with the Ben Cooper because many of them, they came with either different printing on the smock or the box was different. The box had different graphics on it. So there are variations in the Ben Cooper masks. Like I had been given, I couldn't use it, but I had been given a Spider-Man Ben Cooper costume when I was a kid. Again, I was not allowed to trick or treat when I was a child, but I had a Spider-Man Ben Cooper mask and smock that was given to me. And I've often thought, yeah, I wonder if I could go back and get that, but which one is it? Just to have something from my childhood again. Which Spider-Man Ben Cooper mask and smock, and which box did it come in? There's like a dozen different box variations. And Blue Splash is joining us. So it's a deep rabbit hole when you get into Ben Cooper costuming, and they also came on a little cardboard hanger with the mask attached to it. So there's a lot of different variations on the Ben Cooper, and there's also different companies who made similar mask and smock sets, like College. There's one called College that you made, masks and smocks like that. As far back as the 50s and 60s. Munin wants to know why I wasn't allowed to trick or treat. Because I didn't deserve to go. Yeah, I've had those conversations before. My mother was not a very nice person. Didn't deserve to go. So I wasn't allowed to go. I was only allowed to distribute candy to the deserving children who came to our door. There you are. But anyways, as we plow through here today, and I'll show some stuff. I got some really amazing stuff, actually. I didn't expect to, and that was Antiques and Stuff Antique Mall that we drove out to today. And I'm kind of holding off a little bit because I was kind of shocked at some of the stuff that I found. I did really, really well. And I'll just hold on for a little bit until more people can get in. Again, yeah, November 1st today. It's Halloween is all over. Again, it came and went with a whimper. Didn't, I haven't seen trick-or-treaters again in years. That's why I speculate it's really kind of dying. So is Christmas, really. I mean, Christmas has been commercial. Even even Charles M. Schulz pointed that out in the original Charlie Brown Christmas, where they complained about it being too commercial and nobody really caring. Then, how much worse is it now? How much worse is it now? Blue Splash points out there in the city and didn't see any trick-or-treaters and was surprised. And I remember, it was a madhouse when I was a kid. Seeing the hundreds and hundreds of kids that would be out. It's like, oh man, wishing I could be part of it at the time. Now it doesn't matter. I did do it with my children, especially still being in Boston. Even in the early 90s, it was still huge. So Halloween was still huge, and you could go out and you'd see hundreds and hundreds of children. And bringing the kids from my first ex to go and trick or treat and just get filling sacks and then dumping their bags into a duffel bag that I was carrying so they could keep going. And they wanted to go and go and go. I don't know, nobody cares anymore. Nobody seems to care anymore. Munin says Halloween's been dead for a while. Black Friday basically lasts 2 weeks, and Christmas is already on the shelves in October. Yeah. And then I don't understand the Black Friday because the deals aren't that great. It's crowded. The stuff starts too early. Who gives a damn about Black Friday? I get sick of Black Friday. I never did Black Friday anyways. I never got into it because I didn't want to go out and have to deal with crowds. And Pastor Rick is here. Pastor Rick is here. I might have to show some cats. I might have to show some cat images, which, of course, by the way, they're all doing very well. All of the felines are still doing very well, and I am still currently maintaining 13 cats in our little private cat shelter. 13 of them. So everybody is doing good. And I do have a couple more photos. But again, yeah, the big highlight of the day. Again, we could not go to the Georgia Mountain Comic Con. We were invited, couldn't do it because of having to maintain my wife's father, again, who has very severe dementia, and it's extremely difficult. It's extremely difficult. He has no short-term memory. It's completely gone. So there's not even 60 seconds of retention on anything. He's literally living minute by minute, all day, every day, which can be extremely tedious. And today marks 12 weeks. 12 weeks. Today marks 12 weeks. So it's hard. Yeah, it's very, very hard. And especially trying to, because every 5 minutes he thinks he's leaving and going to his house, which in his mind is down the street and take a right turn. And it's like, no, you're not in South Carolina. You cannot walk to your house. And he doesn't believe it. But you have to explain it every 5 minutes all day long and all night. And he won't remember the conversation. It's very hard. It's very hard on both of us. And that's, again, that's why I'm here doing this by myself instead of my lovely wife joining us. Blue Splash wants to know if I'm going to Retro Toy Con. Probably not going to be able to do that. Probably not going to be able to do that. And there is Brian joining us. And Pastor Rick made a donation for the kitties. Much appreciated. Yeah, hey, let me show you some kitties. Let me show you a couple since we're at it. I'll pull a couple up here real quick. There she is. That's Miss Kitty. That you remember Miss Kitty? Miss Kitty hates cats. She absolutely hates cats and will be very nasty if they get too close to her. She likes me, though, fortunately. But that's Miss Kitty sitting next to me on the sofa, just really setting herself up so that she can do this, because that's what she does. I cannot sit down and not have her sit on me. It just doesn't happen. I can't. But yeah, thank you, Pastor Rick. Any and all donations, of course, go towards taking care of all of our felines. Munin says that's so sad about LPH's father best wishes. Yeah, we can use all the wishes we can get with that. It's very difficult to deal with. It'll make you crazy. It'll make you crazy, and you just got to try to stay focused and not let it get to you. And Blue Splash said had the same thing with his mother. Always wanted to try to take off. Always had to look over my shoulder every second. Yeah. They used to call that wanderlust, where they take off on you. They take off on you and they'll just walk and walk and walk. And that's extremely dangerous. They're a danger to themselves because they will keep going until they collapse from exhaustion. And that's why very often, and it's not something that they typically talk about, but the reality of it is that's how a lot of them end up dying. They'll fall down somewhere and you'll find them a day later in a ditch, in a parking lot, in someone's yard, somewhere, either from injuries from something that got broken when they fell, or from dehydration. And it's horrible. And so they're a danger to themselves when they do that. You got to stay on them, and they'll fight you on it. They'll fight you on it. And we had an incident, getting a little personal here, where last week, one night, I forgot to set the alarm. 2:54 a.m., the sheriff was at our door with him. Found him 3 miles away in the street. And the only reason they knew what to do with him was because I had tracking on him. And they reversed the tracking and brought him straight to our house. And actually, the deputy was thrilled because he was like, usually it takes us over a day to find out where these people came from, because we find a lot of people like this. We find a lot of people like this wander in the streets. And it's a hell of a time figuring that out. I got him here in less than 45 minutes. But that's serves me right. That's the one time I forgot to set the freaking alarm. But that's how quick it happens. And it's scary. That is scary. Patrick is joining us. Glad you could make it today. So yeah, it's been hard on both of us. There's Uncle. Did I show this picture before? That's Uncle on the kitchen counter looking crazy. 25 pounds of like happy-go-lucky tuxedo cat there. Used to be very aggressive. He used to be a very, very aggressive feline, and he calmed down quite a bit because he wanted to be an indoor cat. He was feral, and he wanted to be an indoor cat. Do I have another picture? Granny Smith, who I mentioned I can't sit down without Miss Kitty trying to sit on my lap. I cannot sit down without Granny Smith sitting on my foot. Granny Smith always wants to sit on or lay across my foot every time. And she's a tiny little thing, actually. And she's funny because she doesn't make cat noises. She makes these chirps and these chortles. She sounds like a bird. Munin says Uncle looks terrified. Oh man, yeah. Uncle looks terrified. No, I don't know. He was about to meow, and I think that's why he looks like that. But he likes to lay on the edge of that kitchen counter all the time. And we just kind of let him do it because he doesn't really interfere with anything. He just kind of lays there. So it's like, all right, Uncle, sit on the counter. I don't care. He also likes to open the kitchen cabinets. And he'll go inside the cabinet and let the door close, and he just sits there because he's crazy. And again, there's Granny Smith, always sitting on my foot, laying across my foot, just being in the way. I have to watch out for her because she creeps up on you, and I don't want to like kick her by accident. She's really quiet. But that's some more little kitty photos that I've taken just recently. Okay, Munin. I don't know about that. That's some more that I had taken just recently. But yeah, I had gone again. We did get to go out today. I was not able to go to the Georgia Mountain Comic Con, and probably will not be able to go to the Atlanta Comic Con tomorrow either, which is unfortunate. We haven't been there all year. We have not been able to go all year. I'm pretty sure we'll be able to go to, I don't think we're going to get to Retro, and but I'm pretty sure we will probably be able to go to the Retro Toy Swap in Powder Springs on December 6th, and I'll film that. And then the Conyers Toy and Comic Show December 7th, the very next day, because it's actually pretty close to where we are. So that's I'll be able to do those two shows. I don't think there's anything else in December. And Big Ben is here. He says he loves the theme tune to the channel. Thank you. And Blue Splash said, no, I'm going to talk about where we went today here in a moment. Blue Splash said, really feel for you and LPH. Been there before. Thank goodness you have the collection to help cope. That helped me cope with the caretaking. Yeah, well, you need an escape because, again, it can make you crazy. You lose your mind. You know, you'll lose your mind. You'll be forgetting things and you won't sleep. He doesn't sleep. Medication don't work. He's up all night getting ready to go. It's like, oh my God, dude, you're keeping us up all night. I'm forgetting things myself. But yeah, today we did get to go out. We did go to the Antiques and Stuff. I think that's the name of the place. Antiques and Stuff Antique Mall, which annually is every month on certain Saturdays. They have an outdoor event where they rent space in the parking lot, and you can set up tables or whatever and sell your wares. And we've been through this antique mall before, and there's some interesting stuff. But we went today. I did a short there. If you saw the short on my channel, there was a guy who had a case of unopened sodas from like the 60s. He had 2 bottles of Fanta, and that's the one that I held up and I was like, should I drink this? Because he had 2 unopened bottles of 60s Fanta orange soda. He had an unopened Sprite and 2 unopened Pepsis. And I'm like, oh my God. And there are people on the internet that would drink that. You know that, right? Who is that? LA Beast, right? He does that kind of crap. And I was like, my God, who still? And then there's like this thick substance on the bottom of the bottle from the color settling over the years. I'm like, oh man, I wonder if it's still viable. I wonder if you could drink this. I bet you if I did, I'd get 1 million views on the video while I'm killing myself trying to get traction anywhere else. But that's where I did that short today, if you did not see it. But also, and again, usually there's not that great of stuff. Typically, it's people who already have booths in the antique mall and they just put stuff out for this event, and it's not that great and it's not good prices, but you get a mixture of other people sometimes with some odd things that could be pretty cool. Yeah, Munin says drinking the decades-old soda, probably not a good idea. No, I would have no intention of drinking it. If I'm going to get 1 million views or 1 million subscribers, I'd rather do it organically without having to sensationalize or start feuds with anyone or anything like that, like a lot of these channels do. They pick fights with each other or rank on each other, or they do something crazy, some silly stunt like that. And like I said, I know that actually works, but I don't want to go down that road. You know, I'd rather just reach out to people and just be myself and share the love of the hobbies with everyone, you know. No, let me see. Blue Splash says, is that the antique mall where Martin from Retroville has a booth in there? No. The one where Martin has the booth is in Powder Springs, and that is the Treasure Hunt Antique Mall. Martin's booth is in the Treasure Hunt Antique Mall, and that's where the Retro Toy Swap is held. Again, this is the Antiques and Stuff, or N Stuff. And I did find some interesting things today. And I'll start with this. I'll start on the bottom. Look at that. It's an original Burger King glass. And it's intact. It's in great shape. It does need to be washed. The guy didn't wash it. And I believe there's a set. This is 1979. Okay. It says, I'm the marvelous, magical Burger King. I'm going to read it. I can do most anything. I love magic and food. That's fun. I've got fun, fun, fun for everyone. Sounding a bit Seuss-ish right there. But I found that. I don't normally talk about prices. This was $1. And I was like, I'll buy that for $1. Who knows where that's from? Yes, I'll buy that for $1. I'll buy that for $1. So the magical Burger King glass. Now I've got to find the other ones, right? Because I know, because they had a set of characters. Burger King took a crack at imitating the McDonald Land gang in the very late 70s and early 80s. Okay? Yep. Raccoon and Chris beat everybody to it. They said RoboCop. Correct. It was the TV show that everybody liked watching. And the guy would always go, I'd buy that for $1. Sounded like he was all drunk. Yeah, Blue Splash said that's a good deal. Indeed. Munin says, seeing the cup got me thinking we need to have David go to the shows in full King attire like his thumbnail. Oh, yeah? Should I do that? And Austin is joining us. How is LPH doing? Stressed, of course. And she's up there keeping an eye on him right now. And I can hear them. I don't think you can hear them. I can hear them. And I know he's attempted to leave at least 3 times since I've been on. And it's been 28 minutes where she's had to round him up. And Action Joe Figures is here. Glad you could make it and join us today. But yeah, I got this at the show, and I know there's other characters. They've got a little villain, and they've got a guy who has French fries for a head, and a couple of minor characters. Again, Burger King trying to emulate the McDonald Land group and cash in on that popularity. Austin says recently lost his 93-year-old mother this past weekend. She had dementia and it was a struggle. I'm sorry to hear that. Hope you're doing all right there. Yeah, and I totally empathize. Again, and you probably put up with it a lot longer than we did as far as trying to navigate the dementia, because we've been doing it up again today. Actually makes for week 12. It's week 12, so it's been 3 months. It's been 3 months that we've been struggling with it. He's pretty bad though, so it's kind of extremely difficult, honestly. But we're doing the best that we can. We're doing the best that we can with it. And it is what it is. It is what it is. So yeah, again, totally empathize. I hope you're coping okay. Hope you're coping okay. I get it. I totally get it. And what's the image you're talking about? I'm going to show. Yeah, I'll show you some more stuff that I picked up at this antique mall outing. Oh, Action Fig says that the funeral viewing starts tomorrow. Oh, you see, yeah, so you're still in it though. You're still in it. This is this the image you're talking about? I showed this in the roundup yesterday. Yes, it needs to be an action figure. I can do it as like a reaction type 5 points articulation figure with a little vinyl cape and everything on a card with this artwork. And now I need a belt. I need a belt to go. I got the crown back here. I need a belt to go with it. So, but that crown looks better than mine. But I should wear that everywhere I go, right? Here's the crown, everybody. There's the crown. I should wear that everywhere I freaking go. Just like that. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah, that's the image. Yeah, here I got the crown out now because it came up. So again, Burger King glass, which is pretty cool, and I have an affinity for Burger King, classic Burger King, more so than McDonald's, because of course there was a Burger King in my neighborhood and McDonald's was not very close. So this is where I often ended up going when I was a kid. And I used to get Burger King prizes and all of that sort of thing. Action Joe Fig says the voice needs to change when the crown is on. Yes, I am the king of toys. The king of toys. I'll show you what else I picked up. Check this out. I got this for my little Santa collection. It's one of these. And that thing, he's about 10 inches tall. 10 or 11 inches. Let me see. I think he's about 10 to 11 inches tall. I'm about to tell you for sure. He is 11 inches. 11 inches tall. See? And it's one of those classic display, just goofy, cheaply made Santas. See? With a cotton ball glued to his chin. One of these like 50s or 60s little Santa units. He does stand, and I'll put him with my other display Santa. My other display Santa. Yeah, Action Joe says Joe's size. Almost. G.I. Joe's about a half-inch taller. Yeah, Raccoon is correct. Who knew the impulse buy would turn out to be iconic? Talking about the crown, of course. It was $1 at Savers, and I've talked about that several times. $1 at Savers. And just for the hell of it, and it's turned into an icon for the channel. This was also $1, by the way, and I was like, classic 50. I'm guessing 50s ornamental Santa, and I'm sure it's worth more than $1. But I didn't buy it so I could sell it. I just bought it because the concept is iconic. Saturday Morning says it's the 40th anniversary of Back to the Future. I don't remember. Blue Splash suggests the table with the Shogun Warriors. The new table that I got had more space on the backside, could add even more Shoguns to it. I honestly would like to completely ring that entire shelf with Jumbo Machindras if I could, but they are expensive. They are quite expensive. And I don't know if I have a picture of that table. I don't know if, let me see if I have a picture of that table saved here. And I can show you in case you guys have not seen it. I did the video. With that table. Well, my wife filmed it, actually. She filmed me setting the table up so that we could show people. Do I have it in here? Let me see if I've got it saved, I can share it. I'm looking. I'm looking. But yeah, if I've got it saved in here, I can share that image. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. I'm kind of surprised that I don't have it queued up. Blue Splash wants to know if I've heard of Gus Glitz, Mr. Game Show from Galoob. That sounds familiar. It's like a game. Is it like a game? You're supposed to do something with him? That does sound actually familiar. But I'm not, it's hard to picture. It's hard to picture. Let me see here. I'm trying to see if I can find that image. Here it is. I found one. I have it. I have it on. Yeah, Blue Splash said yes, it was a game. Okay. I try. I can't remember everything. Hold on a second. Here it is. Here's the table. And this is from my Instagram. If you have not seen it. And I've got the Shoguns around the second level because it's tiered like a pyramid. Ovular shaped table, tiered like a pyramid with 3 levels of shelves, and the bottom shelf being the widest. And I've got a ring of the Shoguns. I've got 6 of them around that one side. But yeah, I would love to fill that whole second tier with Shoguns rung all the way around. That would be fantastic. And there are some that I do not have from the Shogun Warriors Jumbo Machinder line. For example, the Dre gun there are 3 American versions. I've got Raideen there. There are 2 American versions. And then, of course, the Guy King, there's 2. But the variation is only the fact that the other one has a different color missile. And then there's that one other figure, Deimos. Yeah, I don't have Deimos. So, I mean, in theory, I could fill that whole table on both sides because the other side of that table is empty currently. I could fill the table on both sides with all Jumbo Machinder Shogun Warriors, and that would be great. And I'd love to find a Jumbosaurus and put him up top with the Godzillas. Jumbosaurus, of course, being the original version of the Godzilla, which is drastically different in appearance from the ones that were released by Mattel. To the point where you almost can't, you wouldn't even think they were the same damn thing. But yeah, that's the table. It works perfectly for Toy Room 1. Of course, again, that's Toy Room 1 right there. And, at which point we're able to find a proper placement for my father-in-law. I can get back to work down here. And then start work on Toy Room 2 so that my wife can start getting her stuff set up. Chris is making fun of the crown there. No, I do not have any butter. Saturday Morning Fan and Humanoid Monsters would fit well also next to the giant Robos. Yeah, although they're still not as big. They're not as tall as the Jumbo Machinders, which average about 23 inches, 22 and a half to 23 inches. So the Inhumanoids are still not as big, but yeah, they're in that size range. They're definitely in that size range. You know what else is surprisingly in that size range is the Gentle Giants Wampa from The Empire Strikes Back. That thing's like 24 inches tall. So there is a ginormous Wampa that would also fit in with this. But that's the table. I found it real cheap at a flea market last week. and it worked out really well. And those tables are not cheap with tax, and God forbid you got to get it shipped. But if you were to buy that locally with tax, you'd probably pay $300 for a table like that. It was nowhere near that much. Just a vendor who needed to get rid of stock and sold the table dirt cheap. Blue Splash suggests Great Garloo would fit great in there. Yeah, Great Garloo. I'd love to have a Great Garloo. And Big Lou, the robot. I would love to have that. Yeah, there's some great stuff from Remco, Marks, Ideal. I love that kind of stuff. And speaking of which, let me get back to my hunting at the outdoor sale at the Antiques and Stuff mall sale today. This I picked up. Okay. Look at that. And I know probably you don't know what this is. Some of you probably don't recognize this. Some of you might. And what it is basically is the Ideal Toy Corporation rocket car with the housing. With the housing. Spike says they're looking forward to an upcoming toy show. You got one coming up where you are? I don't remember the exact year, but it's early 60s. Okay. It's all tin litho. The car itself, though, is plastic with interior clockwork. All right. And you got a manual crank, which you rev up. You can see the wheels turning there, right? So you crank it up, and then when you press the button, it releases the car, which drives away after you've revved it up. And this was out there. And this is not something you normally find. And the tin litho's not in bad shape. You see some scuffing on it from where it's raced away in the past. But otherwise, the tin litho is in pretty decent shape. It does still rev. It's pretty tight, so it's not functioning 100%. But that is something I can work on. That is something I can work on. This is the rocket car. Just a really cool vintage toy, and not something that you'd expect to find in the wild. Not something at all that you would expect to find in the wild. Black Knight's joining us. He says his dad's 97. Wow, I know what LPH is going through. Stay patient and strong. I would buy a King David action figure. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. This, I was happy just with the Burger King glass. Again, there's my Burger King glass. I was happy just to see this because I do have a soft spot for vintage Burger King. I would not eat there now, but I do have a soft spot for it. And then, of course, my new Santa. I just got to clean him up a little bit, and then I'll put him with my other Santa display. But yeah, again, not something you expect to find in the wild, and still primarily functioning. It is a little rough. The toy itself is in great condition, but the mechanism is a little rough. But it is something I can work on. And then it just locks in right there. See, now it's secured. Won't come out until you press the release button. That's the release button right there. Blue Splash wants to know if I have anything wacky racers. No, I do not. I do not have any wacky racers. It even still has the stickers on it. And it's rare to find this in this kind of condition. And I was just like, wow, that's fantastic. I got to pick that up. I got to pick that up. Why not, right? I got to pick that up. Now, the big deal. The big deal here, I actually wound up with an entire collection of something. And this was for Hi Carrie, are you watching? This is Carrie that I got this from. Yeah, Saturday morning said, don't forget Duke of Doubt and Sir Shakes a Lot glasses. Yeah, I know there's more glasses in the set. I've got to look for them. I've got to look for the other ones now that I got this one, right? I love the old glasses. I wish it was easier to display them because, you know, you'll start taking up a lot of space with that stuff. This woman, it was Carrie, again. She's out there at the antiques and stuff outdoor sale, right? And she had a whole collection of something. And it was one of those deals where it's like, I guess I got to sell this. And I recognized what she had. And I was like, oh, I would love to pick that up. And we worked something out. And then I told her, don't worry, it's going to a museum. I pulled the old Indiana Jones on her. It belongs in a museum. But it is going to a museum. It goes to LPH and I, our toy museum, which we share with people on the internet, which we share with people on YouTube. And you could see the weight come off of her. She was like, oh my gosh. Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you. Because of course, and I told her this. I was like, yeah, I know it's every person's nightmare that they're going to sell all their stuff to somebody who'll turn out to be a vendor that'll turn around and flip it and spread it out all over the place. And you hate to see that. You hate to see that. You want it all to stay together. And for someone else who likes that to get it and enjoy it and take it away and love it and care for it, right? Which isn't always the case. But I'll start small and I'll build because she had a whole collection of something from childhood. Okay. First, you've probably seen these before. These are Fraggle Rock. And these are like the Happy Meal prizes. I think was there 6 of these altogether? And this is how we initially found out that she had anything. Everything, by the way, that she had is Fraggle Rock, which did not merchandise much. LPH wanted these and was inquiring about them, but then we discovered she had a lot more. So yeah, of course, I'll be giving this to LPH. She also had a wind-up walking doozer. Look at that. It's a doozer. I used to watch Fraggle Rock, of course. So a little wind-up walking doozer, which is pretty cool, with his little handlebar mustache. Still works. And it just keeps getting better. Wait till you see what I have in here. Wait till you see what I have. It just keeps getting better. You won't believe some of this stuff. But like I said, I'll slowly build up here. Let me pull a couple things out and set it aside. Because I was shocked. I was shocked because there are some things in here you don't see anywhere. Not at shows. Things that even rarely turn up online. Now we got some books, right? There's some children's books. What's a Fraggle, right? What's a Fraggle? And you know we have a collection of children's books as well. Red and the Pumpkins. And this is not like, you know, this is like an intermediate child's reader. They call me Boober Fraggle. Okay. So there you get some Happy Meal prizes, a wind-up doozer, which a working wind-up doozer, by the way, is pretty rare. Some children's books. Check this out. unopened puffy vinyl stickers. The whole set. And they're numbered 1, 2, and 3. This is set 1. You remember puffy stickers? Who used to collect puffy stickers? These are from 1984. Who used to get puffy stickers? You remember these? 1984. Here's set number 2. And set 3. Never opened them. Never opened them. And again, this is a childhood collection. This is a childhood collection. Boy, am I glad I ran into her and some vendor didn't buy this and split it up all over eBay. Now, this is the meat and potatoes of it here. Okay. Here comes the meat and potatoes here. Munin says, I'm not a sticker collector, but I imagine finding an entire collection from one franchise is fairly difficult. Yeah. But this is the kind of, again, this is what you hope for. And that's why Carrie was happy. She was like, oh my God, I'm glad, because I'm glad this is going somewhere that somebody is going to care about it and take good care of it. And, you know, yeah, that's everybody's nightmare, that I have to sell this, or it's time to let this go, and some vendor's going to get it and they're going to split the whole thing up. She had from Tomy, okay, from Tomy, the toy company Tomy, the complete Fraggle Rock doll collection. It's the whole set with the tags. This is Monkey. Still got his clothes on. Still has his hang tag. Again, made by Tomy in Korea in 1983. Now, I'll show you all of them. I think this is the entire set. Okay? I think this is the entire set. As we continue to move along here, hold on, because I have 7. Does anybody know if there's more than 7 of the Fraggle Rock from Tomy? Because again, I used to watch this. I used to watch it. I have the set on DVD, but I don't. And I have the Fraggle Rock guitar. I showed that actually last week. I do have the Fraggle Rock guitar that was released in the 80s. But yeah, that's Monkey. And I'll show you the rest of them here. Okay. This is, here's Traveling Matt with his plastic pith helmet and his little plastic shoes. He's got his little plastic shoes on. Traveling Matt, again, still with his hang tag. All of his pieces are on here. I mean, how incredible is this? Like I said, I believe there's 7 of these, and I don't think, and like I said, maybe somebody here is watching knows better than I do. If there's more than 7, I think it's the whole set. Okay, who else have we got? Here's Boober. Again, there's his hang tag. I think all but one of them still has the tag. One of them is missing the tag. The rest of these still have the hang tags. I mean, you don't find them in this condition. You don't find them at all. I've never even seen these turn up at conventions. All right. Yeah, that's correct. Saturday Morning Fan said Fraggle Rock had an animated series as well as the primetime HBO series. I remember the HBO series, but I do not remember the cartoon. I don't really remember watching it. But there's Boober. This is Gobo. Everybody's got their arms up like that. Ah! There's Gobo. His tail's longer than his legs. Again, 1993 Tomy. And no, I don't think there's wires in his arms. They're just propped like this. This is Wembley. Wembley. Very long tail on Wembley. And there's the they all by the way still have that. They still have the shelf clip connected to the tops of their heads from where they were hanging on a peg, which I have no intention of hanging them. Obviously, I'm going to sit them down somewhere where they can be prominently displayed. And then here is Red. And Red is the only one that is missing the tag. Here's the tab for it, the little T, but the tag is gone. And that's, again, Red. So she's the only one that does not have her hang tag any longer. And then Sprocket. Look at that. There's his hang tag. Still has his collar. There's old Sprocket. No smell. They do not stink. They don't smell like tobacco or marijuana or vape or grandpa or whatever. There's no holes in them. They're not torn. They're not all worn out. Somebody just collected these and put them up and decided it was time to sell their collection. And today just happened to be the day. So there we are. 1, 2, 3. I'll try here. 4, 5, 6, 7. Instant collection. Yeah, there's your new thumbnail right there. Instant collection. I love it. I love this. These are fantastic. These are fantastic. And again, I think this is the whole set, right? Is there more than 7? I'm not sure off the top of my head. I'll have to research it. I'll have to look it up. I'll look through eBay and just see. But I'm like, you never find things like this. These are the things that people talk about, where you watch them or you see the images on Facebook or whatever, and then you're like, bullshit, you didn't find that. Or you're like, damn it, how come I never have that luck? this is, to me, this is one of those things. And it's not the big sexy stuff. It's not a raw G.I. Joe. It's not 80s Masters of the Universe. It's not 80s Transformers. You know, it's not the big sexy stuff. But I love it. I love it. I remember watching this. But we didn't have HBO, though. We didn't have cable at all. But I remember seeing it. And it's probably not something I would have thought to go look for. You know, I found one day. Let me find all of them. But I didn't have to, because I found all of them at once. And now I got to find a place to safely, prominently display my instant Fraggle Rock plush collection. And I'm not a big plush collector. You know, I have a couple of things. You know what I mean? I have a couple of things. But now I have this. This is the biggest plush collection I have at this point, because I don't go all in on plush and dolls and stuff like that. Or, you know, I don't prominently collect dolls per se. I have action figures and toys. I do have a couple of things that are dolls. But I don't isolate that. I'm not like, oh, I just want to, you know, I don't need to have a whole big Barbie collection. But I do have a couple of things that are dolls. Blue Splash, heard of Fraggle Rock, never checked it out. It's a fun show. Saturday Morning said they made a Doozer plush as well as a second Gobu without a hat and Wembley plushes, so I need the Doozer. And there you go, Munin. Like I say, target of opportunity. Yeah, because that's how I shop for everything. I wasn't looking for this. I wasn't looking for the ideal rocket car. I wasn't looking for the McDonald glass, you know, or this weird like 50s or 60s. It's either 50s or 60s Santa. I just kind of stumbled over it. Black Knight says the original 80s Tomy Fraggle Rock had at least 6 Gobo, Red, Wembley, Boober, Monkey, and Uncle Traveling Matt, with Sprocket also available. So I do have the whole set here, except that it was suggested by Saturday Morning Fan that there is a Doozer plush, as well as a couple of variants. I'm not worried about the variants. It'd be nice if I could find the Doozer, though. There was a Doozer, of course, but it was this wind-up Doozer. It's this wind-up one, which is pretty cool anyway. That's neat. With his little his removable utility belt that he's got on. And there's a fork on his utility belt. A fork and a little shovel and a pick. And then the puppy stickers are a nice touch. Again, I don't collect this kind of stuff. I don't collect puppy stickers at all. And it's pretty cool, though, because, I mean, do they even make puppy stickers anymore? I know it was a fad in the 80s, big time. 70s and 80s. 70s and 80s. And it's not the first time I've ended up with puppy stickers, because I have a whole sheet, a retail display card back of Flintstones puppy stickers from the early 70s that I picked up at a retro toy swap like a year ago. So yeah, pretty much instant collection there. And again, I will have to I'll have to look and see about the possibility of tracking down a Doozer plush. But you know, my understanding also, these aren't necessarily cheap. I just got lucky. These are not necessarily cheap though. But yeah, absolutely. Target of opportunity. Target of opportunity. And then you too can be a toy king or queen, as the case may be. And there's the toy king image again. Oh boy. There's the toy king. There he is in all of his glory, ruling over his kingdom. Oh boy. Oh boy. I've been having fun with those images. We got a couple of other ones here. Hold on, try this. I ought to put this one on a t-shirt. Hang on a second. There we go. Yes. There you go. Black Knight says on eBay there are 10 Fraggle Rocks. You mean 10 for sale? Or 10 different? Saturday Morning said I should have a custom figure of that. Yeah. I don't know who would buy it. I don't know how many I could possibly sell. I don't know how many I could possibly sell. If it would be really worth it to commission making an action figure like that. You know, I'm not Pixel Dan here. Dan could get away with it. Oh, he did have a figure. That's right. He had a bendy action figure of himself as a wrestler. As some of you might be aware, he was a wrestler long before he was into the whole toy bit. And Black Knight says, yes, 10 for sale. Tomy. Okay, there are 10 total for sale. So they're not that easy to come by then, apparently. Not that easy to come by. Yeah, Saturday Morning said you could make a shirt. I've thought about making some shirts. I've got a couple of ideas. But I got a kick out of this one. I like this image. I had to fix it, though, because this is the one. that one, I think they got a little carried away. But yeah. The other one's a little bit more accurate. The other one's, and besides, this one doesn't look like LPH at all. I don't think that looks like LPH. Although they got a little carried away with the musculature on that image. This one's a bit more accurate. That one's a bit more accurate, although my beard's not that long anymore. But yeah, I know I could do t-shirts. T-shirts would probably work better than an action figure. I'm not that popular. I get around, but I'm not that huge of a channel like Analog Toys or Analog Toys and Pixel Dan and Michael Mercy level, where they definitely have well over 100,000 subscribers. I'm just a small channel. Just a small channel. But yeah, that one right there, I was like, oh, action figure. But at the very least, I could get a belt, get a wrestling belt that says Toy King on it, or open by chance. Open by chance. There's Frankenfrog joining us. I don't know if you were in here for how long you were in here to see some of my pickups today. Munin says, small or not, the channel is awesome. Well, I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Like I said, not trying to sensationalize, just trying to reach out to the community. And if the channel grows organically, hey, that's cool. I'd love to reach more people, but I'm not going to do anything weird to do it. I'm not going to eat or drink anything bizarre or start feuds with people. And JG is joining us. Glad you could make it today. Well, that's enough of the Toy King. Saturday morning said 85 doozer with the box goes for like 200 on eBay. Yeah, I told you the doozers apparently pretty rare in working condition. I mean, I don't know what values there might be on these, but you know, I didn't buy them for value. I didn't get them for value. Again, that was the Antiques and Stuff annual outdoor sale. Annual outdoor sale. And just this one vendor, Carrie. Hello, Carrie. Again, I don't know if she's watching. She subscribed to the channel. I know she subscribed to the channel. Frankenfrog saw the Fraggle Rock plush. Those are cool. Yeah, they're very cool. Oh, Saturday morning said the plush doozer, not the wind up. I see. Okay. The plush doozer you're talking about. Well, I mean, if I find one, I find one. If I don't, I don't. It's not going to be you know, it'd be nice if I could find it. It'd be nice if I could find it and put it with the rest of these plush. But if I can't, it'll just end up on the back burner. Maybe I'll come across one day or find a good deal on it. At least I got the rest of the set. At least I got the rest of the set. I'm happy with it. Munin says doing weird things to get subscribers only works for a time. Eventually, those types of subscribers leave, and usually in droves. Ah, wow. And JG said the room is looking good. Thank you. Again, yeah, we're in the lounge area, the media lounge. And you can see all sorts of things behind me. You can probably, like, if I go this way, you can see a lot of vintage video game cartridges and vintage video game consoles and DVDs from Saturday morning and after school cartoon shows. And our vinyl records are down here. Our comic books are down here. Magazines, all media stuff in this room. And this is where we hang out. And we do the shows from here and listen to the records and things like that. Just have a good time. And then, of course, the toy room is the next room over through the doorway there. And again, when we have things situated with her father, my wife's father, who's been staying with us, I can get back to work. I can get back to work taking care of getting Toy Room 2 built so that she can start displaying her stuff, because everything in Toy Room 1 is mine. Saturday morning wants me to get a Pac-Man arcade cabinet. You know, oddly enough, and I talked about this at the last retro toy swap, where I unfortunately, I really wanted it, but wasn't able to do it. Could not get that gumball machine. You might remember there was a vintage, like 70s robot gumball machine. It still worked. And I was like, oh man, I would love to get that, but I just couldn't afford it. And Chris was there from the Ones You Loved comics, and he has an original 80s Miss Pac-Man store unit. You know, the full cabinet display that you put the quarter in. And it works. And he's been trying to sell it to me. He was like, I'll even help you get it to the house. You can put it in the toy museum. And I was like, oh, yeah, that would be great. But I mean, I just don't know if I can do it right now. Black Knight was telling me the price for the 10 Fraggle Rocks altogether is like $1,300. Good Lord. Good Lord. Munin said it happened to The Rock recently. You mean Dwayne Johnson? It says he lost over 5 million subscribers in an instant. Wow. What did he do to piss everybody off now? Nobody really likes him, anyways. He's always come off as kind of a phony. And I know a lot of people really just didn't like him. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Plus, there's the whole bit with the weight loss. I don't talk about that kind of stuff too much here. But, he dropped a ton of weight recently, him and Batista, and sat there and said, oh, yeah, it's so that I can get better parts. And that's not what happened. You talk to any nutritionalist or look at any of these bodybuilder videos that are out here, these YouTube channels, they talk about a lot of that kind of stuff. So the only thing that'll cause you to drop muscle weight that rapidly, because he lost damn near 100 pounds in a couple of months of muscle weight. The only thing that'll cause that to happen is if you've been on steroids for a decade or more and then just suddenly went cold turkey. And I do believe that that's probably what happened with both of them. They've been going for a long time with a lot of steroid abuse, and they're getting older and it's getting more dangerous. And that's probably what happened. Anyway, speaking of which, again, my wife and I recently, we've been watching a lot of vintage wrestling shows from the 80s. And we watched a few from the 70s yesterday, the pre-WWF stuff from the 70s. We saw George the Animal Steel, still George the Animal Steel in 1973. I didn't realize he was playing that character that long. Very interesting. Very interesting to see. But Saturday Morning still has the 80s McDonald's Muppet Babies plushes. I remember those. That was a thing in the 80s and early 90s to do plushes. Is it Wendy's? Was it Wendy's? Because my wife has a set of them. Did the plush the plush sprites from Rainbow Bright, and they squeak when you shake them. They're like this big, like softball size. And of course, Burger King famously did The Simpsons and Alf. Alf were puppets, though, but they were big plush puppets. Munin says he also typed a tweet stating he missed his needle. That did not help him at all. I don't know if it's still up. Oh, he must be talking about the steroids, because he looks terrible because the weight just fell off. The weight just fell off. He does look terrible, which means that, all of that was fake all that time, unfortunately. But yeah, we've been watching the vintage wrestling, WrestleMania 1 through 4, the first, what was it? The first Survivor Series. We've been watching the Saturday night main events. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, those vintage wrestling shows. And we've been enjoying that. We've been enjoying that recently. Having a good time with that, bringing back a lot of memories, because I remember watching that kind of stuff when I was a kid. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. Saturday Morning said Land Before Time had small plastic puppets at Pizza Hut, as well as Casper. I have the complete Casper set myself. My hand is too big for the puppets, though. If I had like little kid hands, I could do it. But no, I I do have the complete from the original Casper live action film in the early 90s, and they all glow in the dark. And there's 4 of them. I remember the Land Before Time puppets, but I don't have those. I never watched Land Before Time anyway, but I did watch Casper. I did watch the Casper film. I saw it in theaters, which Casper as a real boy was Macaulay Culkin, which confirms the whole Casper is the spirit of Richie Rich. I know that's a fan theory from Harvey Comics, by the way. That's a fan theory from Harvey Comics that that Richie Rich is actually Casper after he died. I guess whoever that other boy must have finally got tired of him and knocked him off, bumped him off. But yeah, I never saw Land Before Time. But again, yeah, watching the old vintage wrestling shows, old school Randy Savage and stuff like that. It's been pretty fun, and also having a better appreciation for um, character portrayals that I did not get or understand when I was younger. I mentioned this last time, like Adrian Adonis. I didn't get that guy at all when I was a kid. Now he's hilarious. That character is pretty funny. Adrian Adonis, he's funny. Or George the Animal Steel. I love George the Animal Steel. He's hilarious. Or a better appreciation for the bumps that Jimmy Hart takes in the ring and outside of the ring. They throw him all over the place like a rag doll, Jimmy Hart. And I'm like, God, he's taking more bumps than the people that are supposed to be performing in the ring. That's the thing. I'm like, wow, you got to give it to Jimmy. You got to give it to Jimmy Hart, because they throw him all over the place and they kick his behind. Or other characters like that you didn't think about maybe when you were younger or didn't appreciate. Or Honky Tonk Man. What a fantastic heel Honky Tonk Man actually was. What a great persona. What a great character. And when I was a kid, I was like, who's this idiot with the guitar? But now as an adult, I can look at it and appreciate it. It's like, okay, I get it now. I get it now. He's actually pretty good. I think I like the heels better than some of the babyface characters. Actually watching, yeah, Saturday Morning Fan explaining that why Casper and Richie Rich, that theory doesn't work. But I have heard that fan theory before. They were like, oh, when Casper is Richie Rich's ghost, because they kind of look similar. The drawing style is similar, is all that is really. It's not that big of a deal. But yeah, there are people that will debate you on it. There are people that will debate you on just about anything and everything. Anything and everything. Because, yeah, people just want to argue this. Paul almost missed the stream. Glad you could make it, Paul. Here's a cat to make you feel better. Miss Kitty, everyone. Miss Kitty, everyone. And again, had a good day picking, because I had some really good fortune at the outdoor sale at the antique mall. Found some stuff. Also surprising, what gets me, I'm surprised another vendor did not come across this Fraggle Rock collection that I picked up and snap it up so that they could sell it in the antique mall or on eBay. Because that's what you anticipate, is like, what's the point of going to these antique mall outdoor sales? Because mostly it's vendors from the mall. This person was not, but mostly it's vendors from the mall. And yeah, they're just going to snap up anything that's good and flip it. So they missed this. They missed this, and I'm glad that I was able to find it. I'm glad that I was able to find it. There's Miss Kitty again in her favorite place. She sure does look happy right there. Yeah, I mentioned earlier, I cannot sit down without her sitting on me. She comes from I don't know where. She just materializes and sits on my lap, no matter where I am, except for down here, because the cats don't come into the toy museum at all. But she's finicky. She don't like people touching her, except for me, and she does not like other cats. She'll try to murder another cat that gets too close to her. Paul says, looks like my old cat from my childhood. My dad named her Elvira. Well, this is just Miss Kitty. Very formal. Miss Kitty is very formal. There's Uncle again. He's about to open his mouth. That's why he looks crazy. But he likes the kitchen. He hangs out in the kitchen. All day he hangs out in the kitchen, and at night he sleeps in the doorway to our bedroom. But yeah, all day long you can find him in the kitchen just kind of hanging out. And we don't mind him being on the counter because he doesn't interfere with anything. He's pretty easygoing. And then there she is, Granny Smith. And I cannot, again, just like with Miss Kitty, if I sit down, she'll find me and sit on my foot, which is what she's trying to do there, which means I have to be very careful, again, so that I do not accidentally kick the old girl. I don't want to hurt her. She's always underfoot. But yeah, great pickups. Great pickups today. That was fun. That was fun going out there. I'm glad we went. I got to try to remember to go to the next one. I got to find out when that is, but try to go to the next one. Again, there's my Burger King glass. I did not buy the soda. If you saw the video or the short that I did from the antique mall, the guy had sealed glass bottle sodas from the 60s. I should have asked him how much they were out of curiosity. But yeah, I'm not fit to drink those. And I don't collect bottles. So I don't know what I would do with them. Although I think it was pretty interesting. He had 2 orange Fantas, 1 Sprite, and 2 Pepsis sealed from the 1960s. There's my ideal I don't know what year, 1962, 1963. I forget the exact year. Ideal rocket car. Still functions. Still functions. Made in America. Tin litho with the plastic rocket. But the housing is all tin litho. And the litho's in decent shape. Not something I was looking for, but couldn't pass it up. And then the Fraggle Rock collection. Which was, of course, some books, some children's books, which we have a huge collection of children's books, my wife and I. Fraggle Rock puppy stickers. For those of you coming in late here, which I believe is the complete set. I don't know if there's more than 3, but these are still sealed. They're numbered on the back, 1, 2, and 3. See, right there it says Style 2. I don't know if there's more than 3, but it's a good start. Happy Meal prizes. Just 3 of them. I think, I forget if there was 4 or 6 with this set, but there's 3 of them. The wind-up doozer, which still works. All original owner, childhood collection. And then, if you didn't see it again, a near complete set of Tomy Fraggle Rock plush with the hang tags still attached. And I'm told here, the only one by Saturday Morning Fan, I believe, right? This Traveling Matt, Uncle Traveling Matt. The only one missing is a Doozer plush. There's 7 of them here from Tomy. Hang tags and all. They don't stink. They don't smell like pipe tobacco or weed or whatever. And this was this woman's original childhood collection that I rescued from the sale today. Again, target of opportunity. That's how we roll at Open by Chance. We don't go to these things expecting anything specific. Any convention, toys, comics, vinyl records, whatever. Not looking for anything specific. But always get our eyes open. Munin wants to know if they even still have Happy Meal prizes. Yeah, they do. They got some kind of, right now, these little like K-pop figurines of some boy band that look like Funko Pops. Junk. Nothing even Halloween themed at all this month, which a lot of people were questioning that. They were like, gee whiz, McDonald's, you don't even care about Halloween. At least Burger King took a crack at it. And then, of course, my 50s/60s Santa. I'm not sure which decade. My guess is 50s or 60s. And I'm not sure how I would identify him either. He may potentially have some marking under his clothing somewhere, but I think it would be too delicate for me to strip him down. So I'm not going to interfere with it. I'm not going to worry about it. I'll just put him on display with my other Santa stuff that I've got in the corner over there. Because there's a fireplace wall down here. I turn this, and you see the store display Santa. That's my 80s Woolworths store display Santa Claus. And he is exactly 36 inches tall. And so that's where I'll stand him up next to my blow mold. That's a vintage blow mold Easter bunny. And I've got a wind up little bell ringing Santa there and stuff. And so that's where I'm going to set him. Yeah, Munin, yeah, boy band Funko Pops. Not exactly. They're not Funko Pops, but it's boy band. They look like Pops. They look like Pops. And Saturday morning said, yeah, Burger King's doing Scooby-Doo Kids meal toys. That's right. Paul said, I'm going to keep the low expectation mindset as well when I head to my local toy show tomorrow. Yeah, and that's how we did. Because, you know, we figured, I've talked about this before, my wife and I both. We go to these shows. And if you got a list, a lot of people bring a list or they're looking for something. And it's like, if I have something like that, if I have a list, it won't be there. Or if the stuff on my list is there, it'll be stupid expensive. And I'm just going to be like, no, I can't do it. Okay. And also the problem with the list is you're putting blinders on. And you don't notice other things. So I'm like, I'm not looking for nothing at the shows. I'll just keep my eyes out and I'll look at everything I can. And if something stands out, I'll inquire about it. Maybe I'll get a deal, maybe I won't. Frankenfrog wants to know if we remember Burger King having the Universal Monsters. Yeah, they had little 3-inch action figures, right? They had little 3-inch, like 5 points articulation action figures. I remember that. So that's what it is. And that's our mindset with everything now. We're not worried about it, not looking for anything specific. I mean, I have a wish list, of course, because I have several toy lines that are not complete, that are not finished, that I would love to be able to complete, but I can't go there expecting that I'm going to find it. I'm not going to a show expecting that I'm going to find a Inhumanoids decomposed mint in the box, and it'll be a great price. If there even is a decompose, it's probably going to be loose, and it's probably going to be worn out, and it's probably going to be expensive. But you never know. But I can't go there just thinking, okay, decompose, 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 and then just be disappointed because it's not there. Odds are it'll never be there. But you never know. You rarely see anything sealed Inhumanoids at any show. Rarely. I can't remember the last time I even heard of anything sealed Inhumanoids at a show. The last time was actually, I think it was more than 2 years ago, and it was at a show, and actually Chance from Second Chance Toys got it before I saw it. And that was the Liquidator on the card, which is one of the only 2 pieces I'm still missing. And I'm like, damn it. Because, yeah, he found it for me because he also collects Inhumanoids. And I'm like, oh, if I had found it, I would have only needed one more figure, one more piece, and that's Decompose. They don't even churn up on eBay. Some of the minor monsters do, like the tree creatures and stuff, or the rock creatures turn up in the box. Carded figures or the deluxe figures, you don't even see them on eBay hardly. And when you do, they're usually in pretty rough shape. It is what it is. But yeah, I've got stuff I would love to find, but I can't go to shows just expecting only to shows with a dedicated shopping list and just disappoint myself every single time. Because then, you're just frustrating yourself, and you can't enjoy the shows that way. How can you enjoy that? But yeah, it's stuff like this, though. Stumbling over a collection like this, that's just incredible. And I was happy to find it. I'm glad I was able to procure it. And like I said, even the seller was relieved. The seller was relieved because she was like, oh, basically, wow, you got this whole, you're actually going to take it and take care of it and love it. And Saturday Morning Fan wants to know if I have any Cool Spot merchandise. Cool Spot is the 90s mascot for 7-Up. I do not. They had a phone. They actually had a telephone. I remember that. There's not much. They did have a Nintendo. Was it Nintendo? Video game. And I played it, and it's actually pretty tough. It's actually pretty tough. It's a hard game. But I remember playing it through. And Hank is here. He says, wanted to drop in and say hi to myself and him and his wife, had a baby girl in July. That's why I've been MIA, but I still love all that you and LPH do, and thank you. Well, good for you. Baby girl a few months ago, July. That's good. I assume everything is happy and healthy then. That's nice to hear. And glad you could pop in, Hank. Thanks for joining us. But yeah, that's nice. That's nice. That's a lot of work. Babies are a lot of work. I know. I know from experience. I've been down that road. But let me see. Saturday Morning says the NES Spot game was part of Spot Arcade game. SNES had 2 more Spot games also. Okay. Yeah, I only had the one for regular Nintendo. I didn't have the other one. But it was a tough game. It was fun, though. It was interesting. A lot of playthrough with it. But yeah, I know this spot had a bunch of merchandise. I don't know if it's worth a whole hell of a lot. It's kind of a forgotten mascot, the spot. Like I said, I remember there was a telephone. I think there was some bendies or something, or some figurines. It's hard to remember. I can't remember everything. I try. I try. Um, I did not get to do an unboxing video. I had meant to. I wanted to get one going and put it up last week. Couldn't do it because we're just too occupied, my wife and I, dealing with the current situation. So it is what it is. What are you going to do? I would like to still have time to get some more video work done. I did do a catalog tour last week. Some of you might have seen it was the 1994 Toy Fair dealer catalog for Hasbro. Hasbro's 1994 Toy Fair dealer catalog. It had Stargate in it. It had Conan the Adventurer in it. It had a lot of G.I. Joe Hall of Fame stuff. It had G.I. Joe Street Fighter. Some interesting stuff. I still have a handful of catalogs I would like to do. There's one in particular I'd like to do before Christmas. I got them laying back here. Yeah, these are some that I pulled out that I know I have not done films of. This one I won't be able to really do because it's just too much. And this is an original FAO Schwartz toy catalog for 1969. See, it says savings through 1970, but it's a 1969 release for FAO Schwartz, which back in these days was mostly educational toys, but it's like it's a very rare catalog, this one. I don't know how well I would be able to show it, especially as thick as this is, because there's like 130 pages, but it looks like this. It looks like, newspaper inside. And I'm like, oh, wow, I don't know if I can really do a showcase with this one. I would have to do this live, but I don't think I could film it independently. But yeah, that's a very rare catalog, actually. This is a J. Lynn Toys International catalog, which is another one you don't see. This is from 1983. It's got some interesting stuff in it, though. Like the Power Lords are in here. Yeah, here we go. Power Lords. And this one still has the pricing catalog in it, which you rarely see. Dealer pricing variables are in this one. But as time permits. I do have a couple more Tonkas. I have the 1989 and the 1990 Tonka, which didn't get a lot of views when I did the Tonkas before. This one's a big deal. 1975 Hasbro Toy Fair catalog. Adventure Team, anyone? There's a lot of Adventure Team in here. That's not a cheap book. Here's another big hitter. Mattel, 1983. Am I back? something interfered with the connection. I don't know if you guys can still see and hear me here, but this is the other one. This is the Mattel 1983 catalog, which of course is okay. I'm getting unstable warning. Unstable warning. I don't know what's causing the problem there. I'll wrap it up here in a minute. But that's going to be a lot of early masters. 1977 Ideal, and that one, this is major. The 77 Ideal catalog will blow your mind. And there's a lot of stuff in here that was never produced, never got past salesman samples. A very fascinating catalog. And then, and I've done one of these before, the 1979 Sears Christmas Wish Book. Oh boy. I think I would have to do this one live too. Who wants to do a live walkthrough of this sometime? I did a Sears, was it Sears also? Or JC? I did I know I've done a catalog, a Christmas catalog once before like this. Couple years back. And let me see which one I have here. Yeah, it was the 1983 Sears, because I remember it had Return of the Jedi toys in it. I could do this as a live walkthrough and just prop the camera so that it's looking down at the table. And we could just take a stroll down memory lane with this before Christmas. I think that would be interesting. I love these old catalog here. You want to drool? Oh boy. And look at Zargon down here. Mini Jumbo Machinder from Mattel. Oh boy. Yeah, I love these old catalogs. Look at the fake cardboard fireplace. Munin says the Sears catalog live stream may take a while if you go through everything in detail. Well, I mean, some of it we can just kind of like casually flip through, like the clothing, the vintage 1979 clothing, be cool to look at, but I don't have to linger on that stuff, you know. And that'll help to move things along, you know, and slow down, because but yeah, I see that I'm going to continue to have connectivity issues. I don't know what's wrong, so I guess I'll go ahead and wrap things up. So hey, yeah, special thanks to Pastor Rick, who made a donation today to our feline fund to help us out with our shelter cats. Again, we're taking care of 13 of them right now. Thank you everyone else for joining us here this evening. Hope you had a good time, and we'll try to do this again sometime soon.